The Chennai City CBSE Schools District, the Bharat Scouts and Guides, Raja Purashkar Test Camp 2020-2021, Online Training Material, First Aid Part 4. In this presentation, we are going to see about dressings and bandages. Bandages, application of bandages, fracture, sling and splint. Dressings and bandages. What is meant by dressing? Dressing is a cover of clean gauze or cloth placed over a wound to protect it. A compress, sometimes called a pad, is a thick dressing used to absorb blood and control bleeding. Bandage. Bandage is a tape that holds a dressing in place, provides support and keeps injured areas from moving. Bandages. A bandage is a covering applied to a wound or to an injured part. What is the use of these bandages? Bandages can be used to assist in controlling bleeding, that is hemorrhage, to protect a wound from further injury, to prevent or lessen infection. What are the types of bandages? There are two types of bandages. Number one is the roller bandage. Number two is the triangular bandage. Roller bandages. The roller bandages are made out of cotton material with loose mesh. They are of various lengths and widths. Parts to be bandaged required width. For finger, 2.5 centimeter, that is 1 inch. For hand, 5 centimeter, 2 inch. For arm, 5 centimeter or 6 centimeter, that is 2 or 2.5 inches. For leg, it is 7.5 centimeter or 9 centimeter, that is 3 or 3.5 inch. For trunk, 10 centimeter or 15 centimeter, that is 4 to 6 inches. Roller bandages, that is உருட்டு கட்டு துணி. காயத்தின் மேல் வைத்திருக்கும் துணி விழுந்து விடாமல் இருக்க கட்டும் துணி. இது இரத்த ஒழுக்கை குறைக்கும், வீக்கத்தை தடுக்கும், வெளிக்கிருமிகள் உட்செல்வதை தடுக்கும். இதை சுலபமாக தயார் செய்யலாம். சுத்தமான துணியை 4 அங்குல அகலத்தில் 2 மீட்டர் நீளத்திற்கு அல்லது தேவையான நீளத்திற்கு வெட்டி உருட்டி வைத்துக் கொள்ளவும். உருட்டுக்கட்டு துணிகள் வெவ்வேறு அளவுகளில் உடல் உறுப்புகளுக்கு ஏற்றாற்போல் தேவைப்படும். Methods of applying roller bandages. There are 3 methods of applying roller bandages as follows. Number 1, simple spiral. Number 2, reverse spiral. Number 3, figure of 8. Simple spiral. சாதாரண சுற்று. கட்ட வேண்டிய இடம் ஒரே கனமுள்ள இடமாயிருந்தால், உதாரணம் விரல், மணிக்கட்டு, இக்கட்டை உபயோகிக்கலாம். கட்டை சாய்வாய் உபயோகித்து ஒவ்வொரு சுற்றும் முந்தின சுற்றை 3/2 பாகம் மூடக்கூடியதாகவும் ஓரங்கள் சம தூரத்தில் இருக்கக்கூடியதாகவும் கட்ட வேண்டும். ரிவர்ஸ் ஸ்பைரல் எதிர் சுற்று. அவயத்தை சுற்றி ஒரு சுற்று வரும்போது ஒரு முறை சுருளை திருப்ப வேண்டும். கணம் வித்தியாசப்படும். உறுப்புகளில் சாதாரண சுருள் கட்டு உறுதியாக இருக்காது. ஆகையால் இக்கட்டை உபயோகிக்க வேண்டும். Figure of 8 8 வடிவ சுற்று. கட்டு துணியை அவயத்தின் மேல் சாய்வாக வைத்து மேலும் கீழும் மாற்றி மாற்றி உபயோகிக்க வேண்டும். 8 எனும் எண் போல் தோன்றும் முழங்கால் அல்லது முழங்கையையும் அதற்கு ஒட்டியுள்ள இடத்தையும் கட்ட இந்த மாதிரி உபயோகிக்கலாம். சுருளை தலைகீழாய் திருப்பவும் கட்டுக்கு பதிலாகவும் இதை கட்டலாம். Triangular bandages. A triangular bandage is a simple bandage in triangular shape, the base of which is 120 centimeter and sides are of 100 centimeter. A triangular bandage has 3 borders. The largest is called the base and the other 2 the sides. There are 3 corners. The upper one opposite to the base is called the point or the apex and the others the ends. Uses of triangular bandage. Triangular bandage as a whole cloth spread out to its full extent. Example, chest bandage. How to make broad bandage? It is made by bringing the point down to the center of the base and then folding the bandage again in the same direction. How to make narrow bandage? It is made by folding the broad bandage once again in the same direction. Application of bandages. Head bandage. Fold the bandage by 2 inches on its base. Place it on the forehead. Take it round the head, not covering the ears. Take it round again and tie it on the forehead with reef knot. Collect the point of the bandage back of the head, bring it overhead, apply a safety pin. Knee bandage. Take a triangular bandage, fold the bandage by 2 inches on its base. Put the base under the knee. Take the ends of the bandage just round the knee and tie it above the knee with a reef knot. The practical application can be seen by clicking the picture given.
Happy, welcome to Ball Scout Engage. And if you are new in my YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And today we are going to learn knee bandage. The point of the bandage, I put the foot of my knee, and I just take a hem. Okay, hem means a small fold. Okay, because and I just make a hem. Then I take this bandage on back side. Okay, back side. And cross it. Tight it. And take it on up. And put the right knot. Okay, there we go. And just round like this, and this is the point of the bandage, and put it like this, and they put a safety pin, and that's all. This is the knee bandage. So you guys put your leg on 90 degree, and you guys cannot unfold your leg to straight. Okay, just I need to not like this. Okay, I cannot unfold. and that's all. Well, for today's video, I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.
Foot bandages. Take a triangular bandage. Place the bandage on the floor. Place the foot on it, keeping the point from the triangular bandage towards the toe and base at the back. Fold the point over the foot, then cross both the ends over the point. Go round the ankle. Come back again to the front and put a reef knot. Cover the reef knot with the point. Ankle bandage. Procedure. How to tie a ankle bandage. Place the narrow bandage in between the balls and heels of the feet. Make sure the two ends of the bandage are still at the same length. Pull the two ends around the ankle and don't forget to tuck in and off the bandage under the other and pull back in front. Pull the ends back in front and crisscross both ends to form an X. Take one end of the bandage and tuck it under one of the sides in between the ankle and the bandage. Do this on the other side. Make sure it is tight and put reef knot for finishing. Tuck the loose ends to prevent it from getting caught and make it look neat. Hand bandage. Take a triangular bandage. Spread the triangular bandage on a flat surface with a 2 inches fold on the base. Place the injured hand on it such a way that point of the bandage is towards the finger and base is just backside of the wrist. Fold the point of the bandage over the finger, then bring both the ends of the bandage over the folder point and go round the wrist. Come back to the front and put a reef knot on the point. Then bring back the points of the bandage over the reef knot.
Point ഇവിടെ ഉണ്ടാവുക പോയിന്റ് ഇങ്ങോട്ട് കയറ്റി വെച്ചു ഇതിന് ക്രോസ് ചെയ്യണ് കെട്ട് ഇവിടെ വരിക കാരണം ഇതിനെ മടക്കി കെട്ടിനുള്ളിലേക്ക് പോകണം ഒക്കെ റീഫ് നോട്ട് തന്നെ ലാസ്റ്റ് വരുന്ന ഈ ഭാഗം കെട്ടുകളൊക്കെ ഇതിനുള്ളിലായിരിക്കും പിൻ ചെയ്യും
Fracture. fracture is a break or crack in a bone. What are the causes of fracture? Direct and indirect force can cause bones to fracture. A bone may break at a point where a heavy blow is received. Example, when struck by a car, direct force. Fractures may also result due to muscular action, that is, a twist or a wrench. Types of fracture. There are three types of fracture. Number one, simple or closed fracture. When there is no wound leading down to the broken bone. Number two, compound or open fracture. When there is a wound leading down to the broken bone. Number three, complicated fracture. When there is associated injury to some important internal structure such as spinal cord, nerve, etc. Or when a joint is associated with a dislocation. It may be either simple or compound. General signs and symptoms of fracture. Pain at the place. Tenderness of discomfort or gentle pressure over the affected area. Swelling in the seat of fracture or the part. Loss of power. The injured part cannot be moved normally. Deformity of the limb. The limb may assume an unnatural position and be misshapen. Irregularity of the bone or displacement of the bone. Crepitus, that is, bony grating, may be heard or felt when it is moved. Unnatural mobility of the limbs. General rules for treatment of fracture. Treat the fracture on the spot. No attempt must be made to move the casualty until the injured part had been immobilized. Study and support the injured part at once so that movement is impossible. Immobilize the fracture by the use of bandages and by the use of splints. Sling. Slings are used to support and rest to an upper limb to prevent the weight of an upper limb pulling on or moving the chest, shoulder or neck. Types of slings. There are essentially three types of slings. Number one, arm sling. The arm sling is used for arm trauma, forearm injuries, wrist injuries, or a simple rib fracture. Number two, cuff and collar sling. The cuff and collar sling is used for collarbone injuries, broken forearm, broken upper arm, broken wrist. Number three, St. John sling or elevated sling. St. John sling is used for bicep injuries, clavicle fractures, elbow support, humerus fractures, shoulder dislocations, shoulder immobilization. Arm sling. An arm sling holds the forearm in a horizontal or slightly raised position. It provides support for an injured upper arm, wrist or forearm, or a simple rib fracture. Ensure that the injured arm is supported with its hand slightly raised. Fold the base of the bandage under to form a hem. Place the bandage with the base parallel to the casualty's body and level with her little fingernail. Pass the upper end under the injured arm and pull it around the neck to the opposite shoulder.
You should use a sling to stop someone's arm moving to protect it and prevent further damage. There are two types of sling, an arm sling and an elevation sling, and both can be made using a triangular bandage. The difference between these two types of sling is that an arm sling holds the arm in a horizontal or slightly raised position. It treats upper arm injuries, wrist injuries, somebody who can bend their elbow, and also for a rib fracture. An elevation sling holds the arm in a raised position with the fingertips touching the shoulder. It can help support the arm. It can also help control bleeding from the hand or the arm and also help to reduce swelling. To make an arm sling, ask the casualty to support their arm. You just hold it for me. And then use your triangular bandage and gently pass it underneath their arm and over their shoulder. And leave the long bit facing down. Then bring the top bit around to the opposite shoulder, and the bit that's hanging down, bring that up to beat it. If you just let go of your arm for me now, and then re-support it. Lovely. Just tie a reef knot. And then tuck the corners underneath. And make sure the whole of the arm is supported, down to the little finger. With the bit that's left over, just twist it until it becomes nice and tight and it snugly fits in around the elbow. To make an elevation sling, first ask the casualty to support their injured arm. You just support it there for me, and their fingertips should be touching the shoulder. Lay your triangular bandage over the injured arm. Just get the casualty to hold it in place. Just hold it there for me. Come underneath the arm, around the back, and then tie using a reef knot. And then just tuck the points under. With the bit that's left over, just twist it until it's nice and tight and it fits snugly in by the elbow. To check circulation, you need to squeeze the fingernail for 5 seconds. When you let go, the colour should return within 2 seconds. If it doesn't, it means the sling is too tight and you need to loosen it a little bit. Keep checking the circulation every 10 minutes. So remember, there are 2 types of sling. You need to know which one to use for each condition and how to apply them.
Fold the lower end of the bandage up over the forearm and bring it to meet the upper end at the shoulder. Tie a reef knot on the injured side at the hollow above the casualty's collarbone. Tuck both free ends of the bandage under the knot to pad it. காயம்பட்ட கை மற்றும் முன்னங்கைக்கு ஆதரவு தரவும் விலா எலும்பு முறிவு ஏற்பட்டிருந்தாலும் முன்கையில் எலும்பு முறிவு ஏற்பட்டு சிம்பு வைத்து கட்டப்பட்டிருந்தாலும் கைக்கு ஆதரவாக கை தொங்கு கட்டு அதாவது ஆர்ம் ஸ்லிங் போடப்படுகிறது. முக்கோண கட்டுத்துணியை மார்பில் விரித்து ஒரு நுனி கழுத்தை சுற்றி காயம்பட்ட பகுதியில் உள்ள தோலுக்கு மேலும் மறுநுனி கீழே இருக்குமாறும் பரப்பி வைக்க வேண்டும். கையை செங்குத்தாக இருக்குமாறு முன்னங்கையை மடித்து கட்டுத்துணியின் நடுவில் இருக்குமாறு வைக்க வேண்டும். விரல்கள் கட்டுத்துணியின் அடிப்பகுதியில் அதாவது பேஸ் வெளியே தெரியுமாறு வைக்க வேண்டும். இப்பொழுது கட்டுத்துணியின் கீழ் நுனியை மறுநுனியுடன் படி முடியினை காயம்பட்ட பகுதி தோள்பட்டைக்கு கீழ் குழிவான பகுதியில் வருமாறு போட வேண்டும். கட்டுத்துணியின் உச்சியை கையின் முழங்கையை சுற்றி எடுத்து ஊக்கமாட்டி கட்டுத்துணியின் அடிப்பகுதிக்கு வெளியே நகங்கள் தெரியுமாறு வைக்க வேண்டும். அப்போதுதான் இரத்த ஓட்டத்தை கண்காணிக்க முடியும். மணிக்கட்டு முழங்கை மட்டத்தில் அல்லது சற்று உயரமாக இருத்தல் வேண்டும். Fold the point forward at the casualty's elbow. Tuck any loose fabric around the elbow and secure the point to the front with a safety pin. Check the circulation in the fingers. Recheck every 10 minutes. If necessary, loosen and reapply the bandages and sling. For the practical application, click the picture in the previous slide.
The second sling is the collar and cuff sling. It is applied for elbow and upper arm injuries. To create this sling, take the triangle bandage and roll it along its length. Place the bandage on a flat surface in a straight line. Create a figure of 8 or a clove hitch by taking one end into the middle, creating a circle, and having the tail point up. Repeat the same for the other end, this time with the tail pointing down. Pick the sling up from the outsides of the circles, bring them together and place the circles over the patient's injured arm. Secure the sling on the wrist and around the neck, finishing with the patient's hand on their chest and the sling tied at the back of the shoulder.
Cuff and collar sling. Cuff and collar sling is used to support the wrist. To apply a cuff and collar sling, bend the casualty's elbow and lay his forearm across his chest with his fingers touching his opposite shoulder. Pass a claw hitch round his wrist and tie the ends of the bandage in the hollow just above the collarbone. For practical application, click the picture given.
You should use a sling to stop someone's arm moving, to protect it and prevent further damage. There are two types of sling, an arm sling and an elevation sling, and both can be made using a triangular bandage. The difference between these two types of sling is that an arm sling holds the arm in a horizontal or slightly raised position. It treats upper arm injuries, wrist injuries, somebody who can bend their elbow, and also for a rib fracture. An elevation sling holds the arm in a raised position with the fingertips touching the shoulder. It can help support the arm. It can also help control bleeding from the hand or the arm and also help to reduce swelling. To make an arm sling, ask the casualty to support their arm. You just hold it for me. And then use your triangular bandage and gently pass it underneath their arm and over their shoulder. And leave the long bit facing down. Then bring the top bit around to the opposite shoulder, and the bit that's hanging down, bring that up to beat it. If you just let go of your arm for me now, and then re-support it. Lovely. Just tie a reef knot. And then tuck the corners underneath. And make sure the whole of the arm is supported, down to the little finger. With the bit that's left over, just twist it until it becomes nice and tight and it snugly fits in around the elbow. To make an elevation sling, first ask the casualty to support their injured arm. You just support it there for me, and their fingertips should be touching the shoulder. Lay your triangular bandage over the injured arm. Just get the casualty to hold it in place. Just hold it there for me. Come underneath the arm, around the back, and then tie using a reef knot. And then just tuck the points under. With the bit that's left over, just twist it until it's nice and tight and it fits snugly in by the elbow. To check circulation, you need to squeeze the fingernail for 5 seconds. When you let go, the colour should return within 2 seconds. If it doesn't, it means the sling is too tight and you need to loosen it a little bit. Keep checking the circulation every 10 minutes. So remember, there are 2 types of sling. You need to know which one to use for each condition and how to apply them.
St. John's sling. This is also called as elevation sling or triangular sling. Procedure. Ask the casualty to support his injured arm across his chest with the fingers resting on the opposite shoulder. Place the bandage over his body with one end over the uninjured shoulder. Hold the point just beyond his elbow. Ask the casualty to let go of his injured arm. Tuck the base of the bandage under his hand, forearm and elbow. Bring the lower end of the bandage up diagonally across his back to meet the other end at his shoulder. Tie the ends in a reef knot at the hollow above the casualty's collarbone. Tuck the ends under the knot to pad it. Twist the point until the bandage fits closely around the casualty's elbow. Tuck the point in just above his elbow to secure it. Regularly check the circulation in the thumb. If necessary, loosen and reapply the sling. Splint. A piece of wood or metal that is tied to a broken arm or leg to keep it in the right position. Uses of splinting. to relieve from pain, to reduce the chance of additional injury. Materials required. You can use any one of the materials like branches, hiking sticks, shovel handles, tent pole sections, folded newspapers, magazines, pieces of cardboard, or a sleeping pad. Note: avoid hard pressure directly over any deformity or bony prominence. Splinting and upper arm fracture. Procedure: tie a splint to the outside of the upper arm. Place the arm in a sling with the hand raised about 3 inches above elbow level. Then use a bandage to secure the upper arm against the side of the chest. The body will act as a second splint to keep the elbow and the shoulder from moving. The practical application can be seen by clicking the picture.
An open fracture of the upper arm. When the bone of the upper arm breaks through the skin, the goal of the first aider is to prevent further injuries, prevent pain and infection. This video segment will show you how to provide care for this type of injury. Treat this injury as you would an embedded object. Put stale dressings around the injury to protect it from infection. Stabilize the bone by supporting it using rolled dressings on either side and secure in place. Using a triangular bandage, support the arm in a sling. Use narrow bandages to secure the arm to the body and tie above and below the fractured area. Reassess circulation and provide ongoing care until medical help arrives.
Splinting a lower arm fracture. Procedure: splint to hold the hand and forearm motionless. Use a padded splint and hold it in place with several bandages. Placing the splinted arm in a sling with the hand slightly raised also can help the elbow joint immobilized. Fractured forearms. Keep the hand on the chest so that the fingers are on the top and the palm towards the chest. Take 2 splints and apply them on both sides of the hand and tie them with bandages. One of them, the hurt place, and the other should be bound round the palm and then end in the figure of 8. Put the arm in the large arm sling. Fractured arm. The arm can be fractured at 3 places. Near the shoulder, use a broad bandage for covering the shoulder and the fractured place. Take the bandage through the armpit and tie it on the other shoulder. Put the arm in a small arm sling. Middle of the arm. Put the arm in a small arm sling. Use 3 splints, one in the arm, one under the arm and below the outer side of the arm. Bandage them with two bandages on top and below the fractured part. In case the splints are not available, improvisation is not possible. Then tie the arm with the body with the broad bandage. Fracture near elbow. Generally, there is much swelling and it is difficult to find out actual fractured part. Take two splints, set them together and put them below the arm. Tie them with three bandages round the arm, round the forearm, on the hand and wrist. Tie the bandage in the form of figure of 8. Put the arm in a small arm sling and use cold compress to reduce the swelling. Fracture of collarbone. This fracture is often caused by indirect force such as a fall on the point of the shoulder or on the palm of the hand when the arm is stretched from the side. Signs and symptoms. The arm on the injured side is partly helpless and the casualty usually supports it at the elbow with the hand of the uninjured side and inclines his head towards the injured side. Fracture of collarbone. This fracture is often caused by indirect force such as a fall on the point of the shoulder or on the palm of the hand when the arm is stretched from the side. Signs and symptoms. The arm on the injured side is partly helpless and the casualty usually supports it at the elbow with the hand of the uninjured side and inclines his head towards the injured side. Treatment for collarbone fracture. Immediately support the arm of the injured side with the help of an assistant. The casualty himself may be able to assist. If worn on the injured side, take off overcoat but do not remove jacket. Place padding between upper arm and chest. Bandage the upper arm on the injured side to the side of the chest with a broad bandage, leaving the forearm free. Support the upper limb on the injured side in a triangular sling. Feel the pulse on the injured side to ensure that there is no interference with the circulation in the limbs. If shock is not severe, transport the casualty as a sitting case or assist him as a walking case. Collarbone fracture. In case of fracture of both the collarbones, take two narrow bandages and hang them with the loop on both the shoulders. Tighten them at the back with the third bandage. Both the hands should be put in the form of X and attached with. Take a broad bandage and tie it tight around both elbows. Fracture of the lower leg. Place a well-padded splint between the limbs, extending from the crutch to the foot. Bring the feet as nearly as possible into line without using force or causing pain. Tie the feet and ankles together with a figure-of-8 bandage, using additional pads between ankles and knees if necessary. Apply a broad bandage round thighs. Bandage the knees together with a broad bandage. Apply two bandages, narrow or broad, according to the size of the casualty, one above and one below the fracture. Note: one bandage should tied off over the uninjured limb when only one limb is affected, but over the side, showing least injury when both limbs are fractured. In the case of a fracture near the ankle joint, the bandage nearest the joint may have to be omitted. The practical application can be seen by clicking the picture.
Hi, I'm Chip Myers, a paramedic with the City of Alexandria Fire Department in Alexandria, Virginia. Next, we're going to talk about how to treat somebody with an extremity fracture of the lower leg. Over here we have Josh, who's laying on the floor complaining of pain in his leg. He's got a swollen area in his leg. He felt a popping sensation or a snapping sensation. We notice it's very painful to the touch, and there may be even some false motion or some kind of, feels like some grinding sensation when we check the area. First thing we did is we measured out two board splints and laid them one on the inside of the leg and one on the outside. These board splints, you can use anything you have around the house that's long enough to fit the leg, a broomstick, anything. Ideally, try to pad it with some towels or something, but if you don't have anything to pad it with, putting the splint in is better than nothing. If you have nothing at all that you can splint the leg with, you can use the good leg and tie both legs together. When splinting, you want to put two triangular bandages or two cravats, or if you use tape, anything that you use, but you want to put two on the upper leg and two on the lower leg to try to hold the splint in place. The idea is we're trying to minimize any motion in that leg, in that fractured area, and that'll help reduce the pain for this person, plus it'll help reduce some of the swelling and damage to the soft tissue as well as the blood vessels and nerves in that area. When tying the cravats or the triangular bandage, you want to make sure not to get so tight that you actually cut off the circulation to the foot. So if the patient starts saying that they've got a tingling sensation in their foot or that their foot starts to turn purple, you might need to loosen up some of the cravats. Next, we're going to talk about how to treat somebody who's got an ankle injury. Josh here has an injury to the ankle on the other foot, and we're going to wrap that in either a blanket or a pillow to try and stabilize it. You want to use something bulky, something soft. If you're at the ski slope and somebody else has this problem, you could use a down jacket. So you just position the ankle, the heel of the foot on the center of the blanket or the pillow, and you wrap it up around the foot, and you just tie it in place or tape it in place, whatever you have handy. So that's how you stabilize fracture of the lower extremity. Next, we're going to talk about how to treat somebody who's having a seizure.
To watch the other segments in this video series or for how-to videos on almost any other topic, visit monkeyseed.com.
Fracture on hip. Treatment. Lay the casualty on his back with knees straight. To help him to bend his knees slightly, support them with padding, such as a cushion or folded clothing. Place padding between the bony points of the knees and the ankles. Immobilize the legs by bandaging them together with folded triangular bandages. Thank you, dear Scouts and Guides, for listening patiently the first aid part 4. Thank you.